What's up? What's up? Oh yeah, we got Tristan on the line already. What's up, my boy? Yeah. What's up? So today we're doing well, first thing first. This is John here from JJS Consulting Tech. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are swell. And I hope your families are good too. So today we're gonna be testing the Shure SM7B, the OG. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this into frame real quick. This right here, the SM7B, the OG versus the new guy on the block. Well, it's not really new. It just added a little bit of stuff. The Shure SM7DB. So I don't own this mic. I'm just gonna borrow this mic, just for this test to see if it sounds the same. Because yeah, I was watching a video. Oh, what's up, Sasha Shay? Said hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien? How's your familia? So I was watching a video about Kirk Nugent. Kirk Nugent was testing these two mics out, and to me, it sounded a little different. So I'm gonna run a test on this. I'm gonna record the mics, and I'm gonna put them through Isotope and see if they have the same, graphs. And I'm gonna see if they sound the same. I'm gonna also use the SM7B feature with the built-in preamp versus the old cloud lifter on the older SM7B, and I'm gonna see if they sound the same. That's basically what the test is. Cause I think I'm bugging out. It sounded a little different, so I want to make sure that it's only me that's bugging. But if it does sound different, well, it is what it is. All right, let's get it. So, all right, this is the setup right here. So you see this mic that's going crazy. That's the mic that I'm using right now. And this mic that I'm touching, it's online. All right, so this right here is the SM7B. So we're going to turn off this mic that I'm using right now, and we're going to use this SM7B. Now, I might be super quiet because I have nothing on this channel whatsoever. It's just dry. So let's turn this off. Put that on left. Put that on right. Yeah. You weren't able to hear me because I didn't have that channel going through loopback. So now you can hear me. Now let me repeat everything I was saying just now. Now this is what the SM7B sounds like, completely dry. There is no processing on this, and yeah, this is what it sounds like. So let me do a quick recording. Let me try to use Audio Hijack. Audio Hijack is from Rogue Amoeba. Let me just show my full screen so you guys can see it. So, what? me do some switcheroo. So I'm gonna go back right here. Instead of you being that, let's put you to the secondary screen. Boom. So good. Now you should be able to see audio hijack. This is audio hijack. And the way I have it set up is when I press run, it's going to record everything coming through the mic, and as well as if I'm like going on YouTube playing music, it's going to record that as well. So it's good for like if you're a YouTuber and you want to capture your recording of your microphone and what you're playing on the computer. It's pretty good. So let's hope this works. Testing, 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. And of course it doesn't work because I'm live. You know, stuff like this always happens when you're live. All right, let's see why you aren't running. Oh, so this is a great way to see the chain of command. So system audio, just going through right there, and this is my input device, and I'm just recording it in a WAV file. So that's why I have channels 35 and 30, only 35. So if I probably do 36, which is the other one, and run this, there we go. So it's recording. Let me stop that. Let me get my broadcast voice, and let me make sure I say the same thing for both microphones. All right, here we go. Boom. What am I gonna say? all right. Yeah. I'm gonna do the infamous story about the bear. Here goes. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear, and I was like, it's a bear. And the bear looked at me, and I looked at the bear, and we just stood there and stared. Bars. Oh man, I should be in like poetry or something, because you know that was kind of nice. All right, the moment of truth. Let's hope it recorded stereo instead of mono, because sometimes it be doing that. Where did that save? It saved in music, audio hijack, and this is it. Is this it? I hope you don't hear that background noise, bro. Like, no, that is not it. What? Input, this one. Or this one. Or this one. Hold on, what's today's date? Today's date is January 21st, so that might help. I should just look at which one was recorded today. Which is this one. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear, and I was like, it's a bear. And the bear looked at me, and I looked at the bear, and we just stood there and stared. Bars. All right, so I must say, that sounds pretty good with no processing. All right, let me mark these so I'm not like lost. All right, so let me name this SM7B. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. That's on purpose, because you guys don't need to see what's on my computer. This is regular SM7B, and let's do dry. All right, so let's do the same thing with the SM7. Sorry about that. Let's do the same thing with the SM7DB. So it's gonna be a little bit of silence because I don't want you to hear all that mic noise. Oh, and I forgot to say, you guys probably can't see this, but the gain on this is 57 dB because, yo, this mic is a dynamic mic and it loves gain. OD. Let's get it. Let's put this in line. I'm gonna play background music. Yeah, I'm gonna play background music while I switch mics. All right, I think that ended at the perfect time, you know? This is the SM7DB. Let me make sure. Get that? Let me make sure because it's a Shure mic. Hey, I'm just on a roll today. Let me make sure that this preamp isn't on. All right, cool. It's set to bypass. So yeah, it's set to bypass. So this is the exact same setting as the OG SM7B. So here we go. Let's record. Where did audio hijack go? There you go. All right. So the same voice. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and I was like, it's a bear. And I looked at the bear and the bear looked at me and we just stood there and stared. Bars. All right. I probably might have switched it up a little. Forgot the words. But I need to memorize that because I say that in every audio test. So it needs to be consistent. So let's see what that sounds like. And let's do a little back and forth. Let's not do the back and forth as yet. Let's do the back and forth in isotope. I'll drag this over here. And let's see. Send music, audio hijack. And it should be the last one, which was this. Or not. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. And I looked at the bear. And the bear looked at me. And we just stood there and stared. Bars. That sounds a little different. Am I bugging? SM. Yeah, I said something different. The bear is tired. Okay. This is SM7DB dry. Time to get a new story. Man, I'm gonna stick to that story. That story is, is deep. Is philosophical because you will never go anywhere and see a bear and it just look at you and you look at the bear and just stare. And that's the end of the story. It's philosophical. The bear is a metaphor, So let's see. I think these things sound a little different. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear. Okay, that's the SM7B. This is the SM7DB. Error SM7DB. I was walking down the street. I know they sounded different. All right, we're going to put those in the isotope, and we're going to look at the different waveforms. So let's try it with the cloud lifter. So first we're going to try the SM7DB with the preamp, and then we're going to try the OG SM7B with the cloud lifter, and let's see if they sound the same or different. So let's turn on this preamp. Thing 1 2. Oh yeah, that's loud. Yeah, that's really loud. I'm sorry about that. That preamp, boy, that preamp, it really boosts the signals. And you have to turn on 48 volt 48 volt phantom power. So right now I have it set to 37 dB. And this is the SM7DB with the preamp. And this is what it sounds like. Does it color the SM7B? Does it make it darker? I don't know. That's why I'm testing. So let's get audio hijack. And let's record this. All right, with it. Walking out the street, man, whatever. Whatever comes to mind. It's going to be about a bear and a deer. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And the bear and deer looked at me. And I looked at the bear and deer. And we just stood there and stared. Bars. You got to change it up, You got to change it up a little bit. All right. So with the cloud lifter, we're going to get the bear and the deer in the story. It ain't that one. It ain't that one either. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And the bear and deer looked at me. And I looked at the bear and deer. And we just stood there and stared. Bars. Okay. So that's the SM7DB with the preamp. Now it's going to take some time to attach that cloud lifter to this Apollo. So you know what that means. Background music. Okay, so this is a SM7DB preamp. Make that green. And I'm going to cut this mic and hit that background music. Right. So I just, okay, good. So it's not blasting and it's still at 37 dB, as you can see. All right. So this is what the OG's SM7B sounds like on the Cloud Lifter. All right. So here we go now. Let's record this. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And I looked at the bear and the deer, and the bear and the deer looked at me. And we just stood there and stared. Every time I record, bro, the story keeps changing. Is this a true story or not? Okay, so let's see what that sounds like. Let's hear what that sounds like. This one. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And I looked at the bear and the deer, and the bear and the deer looked at me. And we just stood there and stared. All right. So that's the SM7B with the Cloud Lifter. I think I'm gonna stay with the SM7B for the rest of the. Nah, just for fun. I'm gonna do the SM7B and then I'm gonna go back to the U87 just to, so you guys can hear the difference between both of them. So this is the SM7B with the Cloud Lifter. Let me just do CL for Cloud Lifter. All right, boom. Now, here's the fun part. This is what I really wanted to see. I want to see if the frequencies are different in isotope. So let me open up isotope real quick. Hopefully isotope doesn't try to take over my audio input. Are you guys still there? Oh, you're still there. All right, isotope didn't take over everything. But isotope is frozen. All right, force quit. Reopen. I don't know why this is here, so we just move this. It won't go off my screen. And let's open. Let's go to music, audio hijack. And here they are. We're gonna open all of them at the same time because you can do that in isotope. Boom, 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 boom. And here it is. Ah, you guys can't see anything. All right, so here's isotope. Cool. And you should be able to see the whole thing. All right, so This is the SM7B, and this is the SM7B with the cloud lifter. We don't want that next to that. All right, cool. So this one is the SM7B dry, and this one is the SM7DB dry. They look similar. I can see I don't know. I can see it's a little hotter down here in the lower frequencies for the SM7B. Maybe I just started out strong with the SM7B, but for some reason they do sound a bit different. I wonder if I can play this and you hear. I might have to change my input or my output. No, you guys can't hear it. I think we went through this the last time we were dealing with isotope. Okay, the input. So let's do the output as streaming. So it'll go through loopback. And let's see if you guys hear it at the same time. And the bear looked at me. And I looked at the bear. And we just stood. Nope. You can hear, but I can't hear. Yeah. That sucks. So let's go back to universal audio. And I will change my eCam output to universal audio, and that way both of us will be able to hear. I was walking down the street. There we go. And I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. All right, that's SM7B. Let's do SM7DB. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. And I looked at the bear. And the bear looked at... Dude, I was walking down the street. My fault. And I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. And the bear looked at me. And I looked at the bear. And we just stood there and stared. Tell me if it sounds different. I was walking down the street. Okay. And I saw a bear. All right. Tell me if it sounds different on your end, internet land. Because the SM7DB sounds a little smoother. It sounds a little smoother to me. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. And I looked at the bear. And the bear looked at me. And we just stood there and stared. Versus the original, I was walking down the street and I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. And the bear looked at me. And I looked at the bear. And we just stood there and stared. The SM7DB sounds a bit smoother. If you're just using... Why am I not in the center? If you're just using like the speakers of your iPhone or the speakers of your TV, you're not really going to hear the difference. But if you put on headphones, you're going to hear a difference. All right, let's try with the cloud lifter and SM7DB with the preamp. Let's see. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And I looked at the bear and the deer, and the bear and the deer looked at me. And we just stood there and stared. All right. Let's do the SM7DB. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And the bear and deer looked at me. And I looked at the bear and deer. And we just stood there and stared. With a cloud lifter, I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And I looked at the bear and the deer, and the bear and the deer looked at me. And we just stood there and stared.
Okay, let's do that again.
I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer.
-7.
And I looked at the bear and the deer, and the bear and the deer looked at me. And we just stood there and stared.
Let's do the SM7DB.
I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And the bear and deer looked at me. And I looked at the bear and deer. And we just stood there and stared. The SM7DB sounds a little smoother. It causes my voice to be a little easier to listen to. Which is odd. Which is very odd. It's like the standalone cloud lifter causes it to be a little harsher. I wouldn't say it's louder because they're peaking out at like the same levels. But it sounds a little more in your face, and you see that my settings and isotope was the same for both of them. I think 57 dB without the cloud lifter and without the preamp on in the dB, and 37 dB when the cloud lifter was attached and the preamp was on. Yeah, both of them were on, and 47 and 48 volt phantom power was on both of them. I knew so it seems like I wasn't bugging. They do sound a bit different. Is it gonna be a drastic difference? No, not really, but it does sound a bit smoother. The SM7DB does sound a bit smoother. So you know what? So I have a EQ preset for the SM7B, and I want to try it on both of them and see if I hear a difference. Now, let's highlight everything. Let's put it on the dry vocals first. We're just going to put that EQ on both of them. SM7B. Let's render that. SM7DB. And let's render that. Okay, so it's the same exact settings on both of them. Let's just do it on all of them. All right, the same settings on all of them. Now, all of these should be the exact same. But I have a hunch they're not. Okay, so this is the SM7B dry with a little bit of EQ. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. And the bear looked at me. And I looked at the bear. And we just stood there and stared. SM7DB. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. And I looked at the bear. And the bear looked at me. And we just stood there and stared. Now, even though my words change, my voice didn't change. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. And the bear looked at me. And I looked at the bear. And we just stood there and stared.
Bars. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear. And I was like, it's a bear. And I looked at the bear. And the bear looked at me. And we just stood there and stared. I really need to get that story down, Pat. I'm going to probably write it down. So I say the same thing over and over again. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And I looked at the bear and the deer, and the bear and the deer looked at me. And we just stood there and stared. And this is the SM7DB with the preamp. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And the bear and deer looked at me. And I looked at the bear and deer. And we just stood there and stared. Bars.
It's a little smoother.
I was walking down the street and I saw a bear and a deer. And I looked at the bear and the deer. And the bear and the deer looked at me. And we just stood there and stared. I was walking down the street and I saw a bear.
You can definitely tell with the I was walking down the street. That's crazy.
I was walking down the street.
That's an SM7B with the cloud lifter.
I was walking down the street.
I'm saying it the same way. I'm definitely saying it the same way.
I was walking down the street.
It just sounded a little smoother with the SM7DB. Yeah, are they the same? For the most part, I would say that they're the same, but I don't think it's the same sound signature. They probably did a little something with the SM7DB since it's a new mic. They had to do a little something because the cloud lifter is that big brick. So I don't think they just transferred everything that's in that brick inside of the SM7DB. It sounds a little smoother. I mean, it's not a drastic difference like SM7B versus the RE20. It's a slight difference. I on my voice, I like the SM7DB. It's a little smoother, and I don't know. You tell me if I'm bugging. You listen to it on your device, because on my end, it definitely sounds different. Okay, so let me switch to this one. Now, this wouldn't be a fair comparison because this other mic has a whole lot of, effects and etc. So this is the SM7B. This is what the SM7B sounds like. 1 2 1 2. And this is the U87. I know it's not a fair comparison, but really not a fair comparison because the U87, I did a whole lot of processing on it to make it sound like this, pleasing to my ear. But without all the processing, this mic is pretty clean as well. Let me put that to the test. This just became something that it wasn't supposed to be. So let me change back from universal audio to streaming. All right, so we switch that back. So let's take off everything. Testing, 1 2. That's at 35, and let me just put that up to, let's do like 37. Testing, 1 2 1 2. Testing, 1 2. Testing, 1 2. I mean, that has the cloud lifter on it, so let's just boost this up a bit. I don't want to push it too much because these are two different microphones. This U87 is a condenser, and SM7B is a dynamic microphone. So you might hear a bit more background noise with the U87, this one that I'm on right now. Okay, so I was walking down the street and I saw a bear, and I was like, it's a bear. And the bear looked at me, and I looked at the bear, and we just stood there and stared. This is the U87, and this is the OG SM7B. I was walking down the street, and I saw a bear, and I was like, it's a bear. And the bear looked at me, and I looked at the bear, and we just stood there and stared. Bars. And this is the SM7B. So yeah, so that's how both of them sound without processing. And you tell me how they sound in internet land, because you know YouTube got its own processing, but this U87 should be pretty good. And but the thing is, audio is subjective. Some people might say, hey, you know, I actually like the SM7B better. It is what it is, you know. You don't have to go for a U87. A U87 is much more truer than a SM7B, meaning the U87, if you have a bad room treatment, the SM7B will show that you have a bad treatment. If there's something wrong with your voice, something that you don't like in your voice, the U87 will definitely show there's something wrong with your voice. It's much more true. The SM7B is more colored. It's a darker mic. So that means the lower frequencies are brought out a bit more, and they kind of cut off or round off, or more like a low pass filter on the SM7B. They kind of like drop a bit of the higher frequencies, so you're gonna have to add those in post. Or if you're doing live streaming, you can, if you have something like the Apollo or some other DAW that you can add effects and plugins, you can tweak it. Even a Rodecaster, but the Rodecaster isn't really professional, you know. It's more of a prosumer device because you're limited to how many compressors and how many EQs you can use on that. You can just use theirs. Whereas if you're using your own DAW or you're using an advanced or professional audio interface, you can add different plugins from different makers that have a unique signature sound, and you can compile them together and stack them and give your voice that extra boost and that extra sauce, so you can sound the way you want to sound. Can't really do that with a prosumer device like the Rodecaster, but it's still a good device. It's still a pretty good device for what it does, and for the cost. It's a really good device. Yeah, that's it. This was this quick? I don't think this was quick. It's almost an hour. So this was a kind of quick stream, showing you the difference between the SM7B and the SM7DB. To me, they sound different. They do. A little different. I mean, because I have these headphones on and etc. But they sound a bit different. SM7DB sounds a little smoother. Just a bit. I like it better for my voice. Even with the preamp on, it sounds a bit smoother than the Cloud Lifter and SM7B combo. But you tell me what it is. Yeah. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.